From Sherlock Holmes to Dexter, we are compelled to learn what lurks in the minds of the vicious and deadly. Long before Hollywood existed were the stories of Edgar Allan Poe that first sparked our fascination with the criminal mind. One of his most famous short stories involves a man driven to murder his neighbor by madness. Enjoy the scene from The Telltale Heart. Now, it is impossible to say how the idea first entered my brain, but once conceived, it haunted me day and night. Passion there was none. I loved the old man. He had never wronged me. For his gold, I had no desire. He had the eye of a vulture, a pale blue eye with a film over it. Whenever it fell upon me, my blood ran cold. And so, by degrees, I made up my mind to take the life of the old man, and thus rid myself of the eye forever. Now, this is the point. You fancy me know it. Madmen know nothing! But you should have seen me. You should have seen how wisely I proceeded, with what dissimulation I went to work. About midnight, I turned the latch of his door and opened it. Oh, so gently! Then, when I had made an opening sufficient for my head, I put in the dark lantern, closed, that no light shone out. Then, I thrust in my head. Never before that night had I felt the extent of my own powers. I could scarcely contain my feelings of triumph, to think that there I was, and he not even dream of my secret deeds or thoughts. I had my head in, and was about to open the lantern, when suddenly the old man sprang up in bed, crying out, "Who's there?" I kept quite still, and said nothing. For a whole hour, I did not move a muscle. In the meantime, I did not hear him lie down. He was still sitting up in bed, listening, just as I had done. When I waited a long time, very patiently, without hearing him lie down, I resolved to open a very, very little crevice in the lantern. So I opened it. You cannot imagine how stealthily, until, at length, a simple dim ray, like the thread of a spider, shot out from the crevice and fell upon the vulture eye. It was open, and I was furious as I gazed upon it. I saw it with perfect distinctness, all a dull blue, with a hideous veil over it that chilled the very marrow in my bones. But I could see nothing else of the old man's face or person, for I had directed the ray, as if by instinct, precisely upon the damned spot. And have I not told you that what you mistake for madness is but over-acuteness of the sense? Now, so, there came to my ears a low, dull, quick sound. I knew that sound too. It was the beating of the old man's heart. But yet I refrained and kept still. I tried steadily as I could to maintain the ray upon the eye. Meantime, the hellish tattoo of the heart increased. The old man's terror must have been extreme. It grew louder every moment. But yet I refrained and kept still. But the beating grew louder, louder. I thought the heart must burst. And now a new anxiety had seized me. The sound would be heard by a neighbor. The old man's hour had come. With the loud yell, I threw open the lantern and leaped into the room. In an instant, I dragged him to the floor and pushed the heavy bed over him. I smiled gaily to find the deed so far done. But the heart beat on with a muffled sound. This, however, did not vex me. At length, it ceased. The old man was dead. I removed the bed and examined the corpse. I placed my hand on the heart and held it there for many minutes. There was no pulsation. The old man was dead. The eye would trouble me no more. And if you still think me mad, you will think so no longer when I describe to you the wise precautions I took for the concealment of the body. The night wind and I worked hastily. First, I dismembered the corpse. I cut off the head and the arms and the legs. Then, I took up 3 planks from the flooring of the chamber and deposited all between the scantlings. Then, I replaced the boards this until